Dave, I'm sure you're taking note of that. I saw a stat the other day that field goal kickers around the league are on a record pace for misses. Field goals and extra points. Any theories as to why that's happening?
You know, to be honest with you, I would have said that sounds right, but I do not look at all the other teams. I really couldn't tell you. We've obviously had our share of misses. Most of them have been deeper kicks, but at the end of the day, the only team I'm really focused on is us. As far as the whole league, I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Dave, on touchbacks, on kickoffs, I mean, Jake's like 23 for 28, I think, on teams. We're seeing teams now, they take it one yard deep in the end zone, and they're happy to take it to the 25 rather than return it. I mean, is that what you expected, or weren't you sure how this was going to shake out?
Gosh, I would say I was not sure. I think you've seen a little bit of everything. I would say there's probably, I don't study everybody, but I would say in general there's probably been some bigger returns. There's been some worse returns. And it's kind of balanced out. At the end of the day, it's a touch-and-go play a little bit. You could have a good result on either side of it. The margins are slim on it. The difference between a good return and bad return, there's obviously a lot of single blocks. For the return team, there's not a wedge in the back end who can pick a guy up. So if you lose a block, it could be a real bad play. If you get them all, it could be a pretty good play. So, yeah, there's been a lot of touchbacks. Obviously, it's a safer play that way. There's been a bunch of penalties on the return teams, I think, throughout the league, which is obviously devastating. Those drives start inside the 10 usually.
And you only have like 4 or 5 returns, so you seem to be happy to take it at the 25 if that's the case.
Yeah, I would say there's probably a lot of factors that dictate that, but yeah, the 25 is not a bad start.
Yeah. The penalties for you guys over the last couple of weeks seem to have subsided.
Yeah, we've finally gotten our hands on that a little bit, or hands off of that. Yeah, we had way too many penalties early. It's been one thing we've been really good at around here, take a lot of pride in. Early on, we just had a bunch of stuff. We've changed some of the things we do technique-wise. I would say, I mean, they've modified the way they've called the game a little bit, and we probably didn't adjust fast enough, early enough. Being critical of myself there. And then our guys have done a good job of adjusting, making better decisions too. So it's a collaborative effort between both of us.
When Darren comes back, is it a choice between him and DeAndre? I mean, is DeAndre kind of established himself? Or
DeAndre's done a great job. Obviously, we'll worry about that problem when we get there. Hopefully sooner than later. That being said, obviously, hard to replace Darren Sproles. He's an outstanding player, so we look forward to getting him back. He'll step right in back there when he comes back.
Avonte's really stood out as a gunner. What have you seen from him lately?
Yeah, Avonte's a great player. I mean, we loved him on film coming out. We knew he was competitive on special teams and on defense. We liked his college film a lot. He was a great jammer in college also. He did a great job of that for us on the outside. Obviously, we've lost him a little bit, unfortunately, for us. The defensive role, but the guy's a great kid. He works hard. I love seeing him have success. We call it graduating when a guy ends up going from special teams to an offensive defensive starter. So he's done good. We're proud of him, happy for him. He did a great job for us when he was really a prime contributor. Made a bunch of plays as a gunner. Really did a great job holding up on the outside on punt return. Great kid, works hard. Really good story.
How happy have you been with Cam thus far? Obviously, veteran punter for all those years. Now a young guy. How's he?
I think Cam's done a good job. He's had some games better than others, some punts better than others. He's had his ups and downs. I think it's going to continue to go that way. He's a developing player. I would say overall, I mean, I'm pleased with his progress and where he's at right now. We'd always like for everybody to be a little bit better. So we constantly are working on improving. He's done a great job. He is a tremendous worker. He works really hard. The game's really important to him. He takes a lot of pride in his performance. So I think there's good things in the future for him. He's just got to keep on working it.
Can you see things Wendell was saying was that he really put an emphasis on special teams this year? Like, have you seen kind of a big improvement with Wendell Smallwood? Have you seen like a big improvement with him
with his
in
play?
special teams?
No, I think he's actually another great story because I think, honestly, he was like probably on the on the edge of making the team or not making the team. And he was a guy, to be honest with you, that really needed to commit himself to becoming a good football player. And I wouldn't say just on special teams, but I'd say on offense and special teams. Usually the thing that makes you good on special teams is also the thing that makes you good on offense or defense. And a lot of that is just, at the end of the day, really how bad you want it, what you're willing to give up, sacrifice, how committed you are to being a great player. And he's taken a number of strides. He had a really good training camp. He's overcome some of the injury stuff that he's had in the past right there. That was obviously a big hindrance for him. But I would say he's as focused as I've ever seen him, and he's having his best year. I think that's not a secret.
Was that one of the things? Was that, if I can follow up for a second, was that one of the things you talked to him about coming into the preseason this summer? It was like, hey, listen, if you really want to make the team, special teams can make the difference for you.
I don't know that I would say I ever said like you have to play special teams, but obviously anytime you're not a starter and coming into training camp, we had J.J. there and Corey Clement who had established roles in Sproles. He was kind of that fourth back at that time. And anytime you're a fourth running back, obviously special teams is going to be a factor in it. So I don't know that I've ever said like you've got to play special teams in order to make this roster, but I would definitely say it's got to be a big part of your game.
You had a situation where I think it was 4th and 20 at the in the Vikings game. The Vikings 40, and after the punt. What went into that decision? Is that
I'd
partly
say
your
this,
decision?
at the end of the day, I don't make those decisions. The head coach makes those calls. He'll ask me if we can make it or not. I would say there is a distinction, though, or a difference, in my opinion, of when you say, can he make it or not? Like, these guys all have the leg to make a kick from 60, 61, 2, 3, Carolina the other night. They all have the leg to make that, but then there goes into play like what are the odds of making that kick and the field position, who you're playing against, all that stuff. That's where the head coach has got to take that. So I can give my input. I don't just say like he can make this kick from here that distance. But so we have kind of a line or an idea going into the game what we think we're targeting in normal situations, and then obviously there's a line for like last kick of the game, last kick of the half, something like that, or you have to have it just to be in the game as it clock's winding down, fourth quarter, 2-possession game makes it a 1-possession game. You don't have enough time to get 2 possessions, but like all those things push off to the head coach. So
With Cam, you get back to him for a second. Can you see him, down the road being a guy that you could do things with distance control that maybe some other guys can't do? Still working on that part?
I'd say that's a work in progress. That's really probably been, it's funny because like you would say like that Aussie kick is like one of the things that all those Aussie guys do best, and actually to this point it's actually been like the thing he hadn't done the best is put the ball down in there in that part of the field, the plus 50 area going in. He's gotten better at it the last 2 games. I thought he had 2 nice plays in that part of the field. So situational kicks, he's gotten better at. I mean, I see him being able to do a great job at that at some point here, but that's one area he's working on.
With all the injuries that you have had in the secondary, how much has that impacted your rotation?
Yeah, I'd say at the end of the day, injuries are hard. And not to complain. It's probably hardest on special teams because people say, oh, well, that doesn't affect you. You guys lost J.J. Well, J.J. means Corey Clement pushes up and Wendell Smallwood pushes up. Now those guys are taking more snaps on offense, and now who's replacing that role on special teams? So really every injury affects us. So I would say the back end of the roster of special teams gets hit the hardest with injuries, no matter how they come, unless they come on the O&D line, which most of our injuries are linebacker, secondary, running back. So it's obviously been a challenge. I think the guys did a great job of that. Like we had 2 new guards on our punt team. We had a different gunner on the outside. Malcolm Jenkins was playing the personal protector, and we were going against Odell Beckham. And we netted 48 yards. So I thought that was positive. We had 5 new guys on kickoff in the last game that weren't out there before. I thought that was positive. They had 2 returns. So I think guys have really done a good job of stepping up, but there's no doubt it's a challenge. Now, that being said, that's part of the National Football League and coaching special teams. You got to be able to overcome that. So these guys are competing hard. They're working hard. Guys step in, end up taking on different roles. It's a lot of what we do in the off season or training camp. to try to train guys in as many different things as we can for the what if, you know. So unfortunately for us, some of those what ifs have come up, but hopefully we can start getting healthier too. That'll help.
Sorry. I know turnover is a big part of any special teams coach's life, but you guys lost a lot of really key guys from the previous team, Trey Burton, Good, Brian Brayman. How tough has it been to replace some of those guys who were really playmakers?
Yeah, I'd say we lost some good players, but we also got some good players in here too. So we got like DJ Alexander, who's a really good player. We got Leroy Reynolds, who we're excited about. So that comes and goes. I mean, I feel good about the group that we got. Just got to get them all healthy.
The experience they got last year helpful. A lot of the younger guys.
Any experience is helpful, all of it. Yeah. We'll take as much of it as we can get. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Good.
At kickoff returner, what made you make that change early on this year from away from Shelton?
Shelton, I don't know if there was any one thing. At that time, we were trying to get. At that time, right away, we were trying to get a little bit bigger body type back there, take some of the hits. He's a little bit smaller body. So anyway, it originated with that, and then at that point, then DeAndre Carter started coming on and showing he was an explosive player on the offense. That's when he was playing offense early on in the season. And then he came back up, had the punt return, and then we said, well, heck, why don't we get the ball in his hands? So it's just kind of how the season evolved. I wouldn't say it was like, oh, he didn't do a good job or whatever. We just wanted to try to give another guy a chance, and at that point, DeAndre was starting to show some positive things.
You mentioned all the rule changes on kickoffs earlier. Is there anything, everybody was kind of feeling their way. Is there anything that has surprised you, the way it's shaken out?
I don't know that it's really surprised me. I'd say we're still feeling our way. I got to do a better job getting these guys in a little bit better position. It's been probably our weakest link on special teams right now. We haven't been great in that area. So I think things evolve. You kind of learn. You watch a bunch of teams play, see what they're doing, teams who are having success. We've done a lot of that in the last few days here, to be honest with you. So hopefully we can get that phase going. There's a lot to it. Who you have, who you're blocking, who the returners are, what returns work best for those players. You know, there's a lot of combinations, all the new rules, how you can best get guys in position where they might be able to pick up a blocker if a guy loses one without incurring a penalty with the new rules, all that stuff. So, yeah, it's been interesting.